How's your Lojong going? Can't hear you. Some of you I can't even see.
I'm having technical difficulty.
That doesn't surprise me. My internet's, well, let's just hope my internet's okay today. Thank you to those of you who have your cameras on. I really appreciate it. It's not always so easy teaching to a bunch of pictures, if you know what I mean. It's hard enough on Zoom, not teaching in person, but to teach to just pictures it's kind of, it's odd. You should try it sometime. Then you might understand. So thank you for those who are putting their pictures on now, turning their cameras on. Thank you so much. So I get to see you.
Okay, technical
A few
difficulty
minutes.
over.
And we'll start. Okay. Rearrange things on my computer. That'll work. And let's see who's here. Lara, can you lead us in our prayers this morning of offering our pure world and setting our motivation while you're recording? Thank you. Don't forget to turn on your mic.
Of course. In English or Tibetan?
What's that?
English or Tibetan?
However you wish.
Okay. Sashi Puki Yushi Meto from Rira Blinchi Nyande Gyempadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Ulwargi Drokum Namda Shingla Drupar Shu Idam Gururanna Mandala Kam Niryatayami.
Please continue.
Keep going. Sangye Churan Suki Choknam La Janchu Bardo Dagni Kyapsu Chi Daki Jinson Jipe Tunam Ki Drola Penjir Sangye Drupar Shu
3 times.
Sangye Churan Soki Chognam La Janchu Pardu Dagni Kyapsu Chi Daki jinson jipe sunam ki drola benjir sangye drupar shuk sangye turan soki choknam la yanchu bardu dagni kyapsu chi Daki sunyengi pe sunam ki drola penjir sangye drupar shu.
Okay, thank you so much, Lara. So we have a very full class today. We're probably going to go longer than an hour and a half. So we may as well just start, right? So of course, we're still working in ACI 14, Lojong, how to develop a good heart. And we're already on class 6. And class 6, what we're going to cover in class 6 are pledges, the pledges we are going to keep, the things that we're going to do, right? And how to be free from the 4 attachments. So those are, again, names of 2 different lojongs. Freedom from the 4 attachments and the pledges. So just to do a quick review of the 7-step lojong that was written down by Geshe Michael, which we started in our last class. The first one is to train yourself first in the preliminaries. The second one is the actual practice for developing the wish, for developing bodhicitta. The third is learning to use problems as a path to our enlightenment, right? 4 is a whole lifetime's practice. And we focused on that a lot on Tuesday. The 5 powers in daily life and at the time of death, right? And then we talked about the point at which we can say that we have successfully developed a good heart. And then next, which we just kind of skimmed over, but we're going to focus on it a lot more today, are the pledges to keep for developing a good heart. And we just kind of skimmed over it, and we went to number 7, which were what the advices on developing a good heart were. So we're on 6, pledges I keep wanting to say keeping, pledges to keep for developing a good heart. So we're going to get into those in more detail. What are they? There are 18 of them. Okay. So, number 1 is to keep to the 3 laws. Number 2, change your mind and stay the same. Number 3, speak not of what was broken. Number 4, don't worry about what they're doing. Number 5, rid yourself of the biggest affliction first. That means the biggest negative thought you have first. Right? Number 6, never hope for any reward. Number 7, stop eating poison food. Number 8, don't let the stream flow smooth. Number 9, forget repaying criticism. So those are the first half. Then we have give up laying ambushes, not going for the jugular. Load your own truck. No passing the buck. I don't know if you know that idiom in English, not to pass the buck, which means let somebody else do it, right? Be responsible yourself. 13, don't get fixed on speed. 14, don't feed the wrong face. 15, don't turn the sweet angel to a devil. And 16, don't look for crap to make yourself happy. So if we count the lines, there are only 16. So how did we get 18? Were you wondering that? This one, number 1, keep to the 3 laws, has 2 more parts. And so then we get to 18. So what are they? So keep to the 3 laws. The first one is not acting in a way that contradicts what you have committed yourself to. What does it mean? What did I commit myself to, right? It means don't get excited about being a crazy yogi Lojong practitioner and ignore your other commitments. What does Lojong crazy yogi behavior mean? It means giving up everything for others. Whatever other people need, take care of that first. Whatever you need, take care of that last. Act totally opposite to how the world acts. You can take care of others first, but you can never use that as an excuse to break your other commitments. We can say your other vows, your freedom vows, your pratimoksha, which would be your refuge and lay vows, your bodhisattva vows, and if you have higher vows, but also your commitments to other people, the other kinds of commitments you have, the things you have said you would do. So, probably since you're here on this call, you've promised to keep your morality to a certain level, right? Most basic, it's a code of 10 different rules: no killing, no stealing, no adultery, no lying, right? Etc. So here, saying rule number 1, A, not acting in a way that contradicts what you have committed yourself to, means don't get excited about the Lojong and diss your other vows. Everything should be working together and in harmony. There should be no conflict there at all. So then, number 2, never placing yourself in a dangerous situation. And number 3, never falling into the habit of discriminating between others. So those are the 3 laws to keep. And we just covered the first one. So what is the second one? Never placing yourself in a dangerous situation. Lojong says, stop cherishing yourself. And that's what it means. You know, we could say, oh, now I can just go and sleep in the streets, or now I don't have to eat, or now I don't have to wash. I don't have to do any of those things, because those are all about cherishing myself. That's not what it means. We need this holy body. This is the body that's going to get us to a Buddha paradise. We can't afford to ignore taking care of our body normally, to keep it working well. Why? We need it to help others, right? And if we don't take care of our own body, we can't help others. So anything which endangers your body, this basic body, or the one that's going to become the body of a holy angel, is not Lojong. So maybe before you jump out of an airplane and skydive or paraglide or hike and stand on an edge of a cliff, you want to think second about it. Think again. Yeah. So don't play this game that now you're this great yogi, so you're going to disrespect your body or your health. You need it. Others need it. You're a servant of them now. Once you take in the bodhisattva vows, right? To see emptiness directly, you need to be fairly comfortable and well-fed and healthy. Otherwise, it's too distracting, right? And of course, if you indulge in that too much, that too is distracting. There's always a balance. It's called the middle way, right? It's called the middle way. So number the C, never falling into the habit of discriminating between others. It means don't be selective practicing patience and other such things only with those who you like. I will practice the perfection of patience with those people whom I like, and I will not practice the perfection of patience with people who bug me. Right? The text says you must support and be kind to all people equally, not just your friends. So not ignoring others. We tend to do that though, right? You sit at a table with your friends, or with a group of people, some you know, some you don't, and you have a tendency to just talk with those who you know well because it's comfortable. But put yourself in the position of that person who's there who nobody's talking to. it's lonely and isolating. So reach out to those who you don't know, to those who irritate you. Right? That's being a lojong yogi or yogini. Number 2, let's see. Go back. Number 2 is change your mind and stay the same. So by understanding the first one, keep the 3 laws, it helps us to understand number 2. And number 2, change your mind and stay the same, means that inside of your mind, you must undergo major change in terms of the 3 principal paths. 3 principal paths, again, are renunciation, meaning I'm fed up with this world. It doesn't work. I got to do something different, right? Bodhicitta. Well, I'm other people are in the same position as I am. They are also suffering the same way I am. So I can't just work to get me out of this. I got to help other people. And then correct view, right? The 3 principal paths. Correct view. What is correct view? Remember this thing? Right? Everything is empty, including me. That's why I can become an enlightened being. So the commentary says, understand that you do not want to live in this realm and die in this realm. The way everyone else is dying in this realm. We're beyond that now. At least we know we have to get out of it. So you know where this world comes from. And if the future is going to be bright, it's going to be bright because you practiced well. If the future is crappy, why is that happening? You didn't practice well. What's ripening in the moment is dry cement. Wait for Eka to catch up. What? It's good I can see you. Thank you. What's right? What's happening in the moment, you can't change it because it's coming from seeds that you planted in the past. But you can change the future if you practice well. It all comes from seeds. It all comes from our actions. So whether you keep your book or not will totally determine every detail of your future. And if you don't know what I'm talking about keeping a book, I'm sure you can ask somebody in the Telegram group to tell you about it and help you start to keep a book. So this is like the 3rd understanding. And these 3 understandings will cause a major change in your mind. They have to make a major change on the inside. There's no stopping them. Of course, on the outside, you just look the same and you act like some normal person. No one should have any idea that you're undergoing this major yogic transformation inside. Except maybe you seem to be a little more patient or helpful. And they're like, oh, they're a little kinder, right? So in this life, all you have to look forward to is dying and losing everything you love, everything you've worked for, everything that you planned for in your life. And we're all in the same boat. Some of you are still really young and might seem really far away, but we don't know when that moment will be. So if you're in your mind, you must transform how you think about life. But on the outside, again, just look and act like a normal person. Don't advertise what you're doing. And others will benefit from your efforts. But they'll only notice that you're doing some very simple, nice things. So going down our list of 18, speak not of what was broken. It sounds pretty obvious to me, and probably to you too. Don't judge other people's practice and motives. Only one person can you judge. Does that mean if you see someone getting beat up that you shouldn't help them? Of course it doesn't. You can't judge them. You can't judge the person who is beating them up. But because you have no idea what's going on in their minds, and you can help them. And then this also means don't talk about other people's apparent faults. We are so good at gossiping about others. You know what she said? You know what she did? We think we're so much better. But if we look at our mind even doing that, how much better is that? Right? If you notice that someone is struggling with something, if you can't help them, speak not of what was broken. So here's a mom with her child with a broken cup on the floor, and she's not criticizing him, right? Never worry about what they're doing. So don't talk about or even think about other people's practice. For those of you who do a 6 times book, we used to say, don't write in other people's books. You know, in our book, in our 6 times book, there's a positive thing, and then something we regret, and then what we're going to do about it. Right? So don't write in other people's books. Don't worry about what they're doing. Be sure yourself and only you worry about your own life. Be pure. Don't gossip at all. Rid yourself of the biggest affliction first. So go after your strongest mental affliction first. We talked about this before, right? Your strongest negative habit. It's hard to do. Don't focus on the third one. Don't focus on the second one. We must be honest with ourselves about our worst habits. When you're in the middle of that negative habit, it's really hard to see it. So when you're in a good mood and can see it, write it down quickly. Go to your 6 times book and write it down, or your meditation book, or whatever kind of journaling you're doing. Write it down quickly. Let me pause for a moment so Maria can have a drink of water. No, you're okay. Okay. I'm going to have one. Cheers. So write it down quickly. And if you're really, really not clear about what your biggest negative thought pattern is, as I said before, go ask your best friend. But when our minds are happy and clear and your mood is good, you can usually see it and admit it to yourself. Or it might even happen when your life is threatened, like almost getting hit by a car, when your mind is like clear for 2 minutes. And you go, oh, I don't want that on my conscience, that negative thought. Put that hand down. Okay. No. Well, I'm not going to fiddle with it. Well, I don't want that on my conscience, that negative thought. Maybe somebody can lower my hand for me. And then number 6, never hope for any reward. So the commentary says you will get rewards if you practice well. If you keep your vows and meditate regularly, right? There is no being out there who is going to reward you. So don't expect instant results. Don't get all excited when you drop a pen and it falls to the ground. It's gravity. It's a normal law. So every time you practice the Dharma wonderfully, there will be a reward. There will be a result. It may not happen in the next moment or the next day, probably in the next few weeks, months, or sometimes years, if it's something that we've had to work on for a long time. So just steady, like a stubborn mule. Keep doing your practice, and you will see your life get sweeter and sweeter. Number 7, stop eating poison food. So when you finally do a good deed, don't poison it with an attitude of self-cherishing, like thinking about how this behavior is going to help you. do rejoice in it. Rejoice in the seeds for a happier world that you're planting. But don't get all puffed up about it. Oh, I'm such a good person because I did such a blah, blah, blah. Right? That's like eating poisoned food, something that's supposed to nourish you and help you be healthy and strong and tasty. And instead, it makes you sick. So don't do that with your good seeds that you've planted. Don't. The word that comes to mind is sully them. Don't make them dirty. Number 8, don't let the stream flow smooth. So this is referring to when you are having a nice attack of negative thoughts. Don't be a pushover. Put up a good fight. Put up a good resistance against those negative thoughts, right? No, you're not going to get me, right? Don't let it come out in a stream, right? So Jason Kappa says, as long as you put up a good fight, you don't break the vow. So every minute of resisting these negative thoughts, even if you're not successful, is extremely good karma. The seeds of it are extremely powerful. Okay? And if you took Bodhisattva vows, you have a vow that says, if you catch yourself being angry, you're not allowed to let it continue, to let it go on. If you catch yourself having strong desire for something in a negative way, you're not allowed to let it go on. When you're angry, even if you catch yourself being angry, usually we're going to break it and we can't stop it because that is one of the qualities of being angry. It's like we get on the fast train and we go, oh, I'm getting angry, but we can't stop it. It's already moving, right? So it's almost impossible to stop it while we're being angry. So how long does this fight have to be? 30 seconds? 1, 2, 3 minutes? There's all these debates about it. And the basic idea is that when you have an attack like this, a negative thought pattern attack, even if it's going to beat you up, and you know that there's times that we can't stop it. I know, you know, at least put up a good fight. Like you know you're going to die, but at least hold out for a while. And the virtue of putting up a fight is very special. That karma is extremely powerful. So every minute that you can keep putting up a fight is extremely powerful karma. So if you're about to get angry and you know you're not going to be able to stop it, at least wait 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Remove yourself from the situation. Drop something, whatever it is that you can do to distract this powerful, angry energy. which of course is based in self-cherishing, right? I don't think I have ever gotten angry without self-cherishing being involved. Of course, I don't notice it at the time, or I feel I'm justified, but it's always about me. Check it out. Let me know if you find yourself being angry, not wrathful. Like we need to be wrathful, like with a child who's going to run out in the street. We need that. I mean, anger has an incredible amount of power. How can we use it for good instead of destruction? How can we change that energy? Master Shanti Deva says, be like a bump on a log. Don't move. Don't open your mouth. Don't say anything. Just sit. So find what works for you. When you're about to get angry, what can you do to at least put up a fight with this monster? For 3 seconds. Or a minute, whatever it is. Forget repaying criticism. What's our habit? Somebody criticizes us. We try to find fault in them and criticize them. Right? We just talked about that, about, highlighting the faults of others. And these are also in our Bodhisattva vows. Being criticized and criticizing back. Repaying violence with violence. Anger with anger. Yelling with yelling. Don't return criticism. Listen to the person and see if you can get anything good out of it. If someone is causing you physical or mental harm, don't return the offense. You just keep the cycle going if you do. Somebody scares you, and then you want to scare them back so they know what it feels like. Right? It's such a human habit. We need to stop this cycle of violence. We must learn to separate the good and the bad things that are happening to us now from our current behavior. What's happening now, again, I say it again, are mainly from the seeds we planted a long time ago. And it's really, misunderstanding to think what's happening today is coming from what you're doing today. That's not how seeds work, generally speaking. So stop the cycle of violence now. Don't keep it going. It's all coming from your past deeds. And the same is true of the good deeds. So don't be too proud about the good things in your life. If you like them, keep them going. Thank Josephine, who planted those seeds in some other life, right? And keep it going. Don't disappoint her, right? She had a good thing going. Keep it going. Number 10, give up laying ambushes. When someone hurts you, don't plan a trap to hurt them back. It's the same thing we just talked about, right? When someone finds fault in us finding fault in them. When someone criticizes them, we criticize them back. When someone hurts us, we hurt them back. Don't make a plan to do that. It only keeps the cycle of suffering continuing and going. And this next one is in the same vein. No going for the jugular. You know, when we're in a group of people and someone else makes an error, don't expose them publicly by focusing on their faults. It's hard to do sometimes, you know, you're working with somebody and they do something and you're like, oh God. It's like, don't you get it? You have to keep it inside, and it's not easy. Not always easy sometimes. And I speak from personal experience. I'm confessing to you guys. Then number 12. Load your own truck, no passing the buck. Did Geshe Chikawa really say that? He said, don't take the load off the girl yak and try to put it on somebody else. But we generally don't have yaks in our lives, but we do have cars and carts and trucks and things like that. So what does it mean? Don't try to place the blame for your mistakes on other people. Admit your errors freely. So Lojong behavior includes taking the blame for others' mistakes, not just your own. And why is that? Just before you get real bodhicitta, ultimate bodhicitta, you get an attitude of taking personal responsibility for all the trouble anyone is facing. Also, if you try to do something and it goes wrong or doesn't happen, you know, don't lay the blame on someone else. Oh, they didn't do blah, blah, blah. We're all in this together. We tried. It didn't work. Let's carry on. Don't lay the blame anywhere else. Would we be hearing these things if they weren't things that we did all the time? Would they be giving us this list of things to watch out for? So check out. Is that something I do? Yeah. Maybe not as much as I used to. Right? Don't get fixed on speed. Let's take that up. When there's some opportunity for gain, you take the best part for yourself. There's not enough cookies to go around, and you make sure you get one. Or, like finishing the pie off before someone else has a chance to have any. So speed here means that you try to get the best before something runs out. What happens if you let someone else get it? What seed are you planting then? Rather than, oh, you didn't save me the last piece of pie. I didn't even have any. Again, it's that self-cherishing. And I know about it. I'm not any different than you are. And then I get upset and I get angry and I don't want to make pie anymore because you don't save me any. That's the way to never have pie again. How do we plant the seeds? The last becomes the first. So then we have don't feed the wrong face. So Lojong is to starve our tendency to take care of ourselves first, rather than taking care of others. So don't turn Lojong into a way of feeding our negative feelings, like pride or jealousy. I know Lojong really well. I'm good at it. I can teach it. Puffing yourself up to feed your own ego, right? Which is a negative thing to do. It's okay to say, hey, you did a good job explaining that. You admitted that you also have these problems. Yeah. If you hear that someone else is teaching and has all these students, rather than rejoicing, you're jealous and irritated by it, right? That just feeds these negative habits. So don't take something that is pure and holy and beautiful and make it any less by your negative thoughts. We're supposed to use Lojong to starve our negative thoughts. Instead, we use the Holy Dharma to feed them. And that's very dangerous for people who are getting serious about study. So make sure you're not feeding the wrong face. Don't turn the sweet angel to a devil. Lojong is the sweet angel. Taking care of others is the sweet angel. Don't use it as another opportunity to act out your jealousy or desire or anger or pride. That's turning the angel into a devil. So it's the same with all Dharma. And the last one, number 16, don't look for crap to make yourself happy. That's the last one, so it must be pretty important, right? Don't get pleasure from bad things that happen to others, especially people you don't like. Don't think that their bad fortune confirms your negative view of them. Within yourself, you're thinking, that's terrible. You're saying, I never did like that person. Now their crappy behavior is making them get hurt. They deserve that. That's their karma. Don't ever use karma that way. And it's such a common human trait. They deserved what they got. It's pretty sad what they got. It's pretty sad the seeds that they planted. And Lord Buddha made this one of the top pratimoksha vows, individual freedom vows. This refers to ill will, which is the 9th of the top misdeeds. Rejoicing in someone else's misfortune. Rejoicing, well, I won't even go there. So, there are certain people around us, there are certain people in our countries that we sometimes think we would be better off without them, and we have these negative thoughts. Don't look for crap to make yourself happy. Don't wish on them any suffering or pain, even if they appear to be causing you or someone else suffering and pain. Usually they're causing others suffering and pain because they are in pain and suffering. All of these, if we do them, just keeps the cycle of suffering going. When we start to stop them, then that wheel gets a little bumpier. It starts to break down. And so that wheel of samsara doesn't run so smoothly anymore. And it begins to let in the light. It begins to let in wisdom and kindness. So those are the 18 pledges. You're getting a lot in this course for your toolbox. Hopefully you will not just put the toolbox away and let it collect dust, but pull it out occasionally. It will serve you over the next years very well. I was just checking to see what time it is. Okay. Let's take a quick little stretch. And then we're going to go on to freedom from the 4 attachments. We've been here for an hour already. And we still have some more class to go. All right. I'm just Hong Lon, can you read this for us, please?
Yes, thank you,
Thank you.
teacher. Shen Pa, Shi Jiao,
Thank you.
freedom from the four attachments.
Thank you. Nice,
Thank you.
nice reading. So, freedom from the four attachments. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, Geshe thinks that this is the greatest lojong of all times. Shempa Shidra. Freedom from the four attachments. Shempa means attachments, Shi is four, and Drel is freedom. Okay, freedom. So you might have heard that Buddhists are not supposed to be attached to things. Don't get attached, right? You know, what? Maybe you just heard that for the first time. I don't know, but I heard it before I even became a Buddhist. So if you heard it for the first time, or think back to the first time you heard it, what was your mental image? What was your drachi of what that meant? Irina, you want to share with us? I saw you were thinking about it. What does that image conjure up for you?
Эко переведешь, да? То я не говорю по-английски. У меня это был первый ACI, и
I
я
remember it
услышала
was
обучение.
ACI 1, and I heard
Maybe
about
just
renunciation.
to the English channel. Hold on, if I can find it.
Do you hear me, Venerable Gyelse?
Yeah, but go ahead, you share it with everybody else.
Okay.
И это был первый ACI. Я
It was the first
услышала обучение,
ACI, and I heard about
я подумала,
renunciation,
о боже,
and I
нужно было от
heard,
всего как бы
oh my
отказаться,
God, I have to give up
что все равно
everything.
все есть страдания.
Everything is a
У
suffering,
меня
and
такое вот было какое-то даже немножко
I had
потрясение,
maybe it
что
was a
нужно от
little bit
всего
shocking for
отказаться.
me that I have to give up everything.
Thank you. I have no idea what you said, but everybody else does. I can't figure out how to get back to where I can find the interpretation, but you know, usually it's like Buddhists aren't supposed to be attached to anything, or they don't care if they have any money or clothes, or just they should be totally happy all the time, right? So we have to explore what it means. It's a very famous lojong. But first, I'm going to tell you the story of how it was written. When Buddhism started in Tibet, it was just like this, little groups here and there, right? In one country. Now we're little groups in many countries. And there was this guy who lived around 1034 named Kuncho Gyalpo. And he started a small little Dharma center, you know, a place to practice and follow these teachings in Tibet on a hillside. And the hillside was made of some very chalky white rock. Like in southern England, the hills of Dover, they're very chalky white. That's all you can see. And so he started this little center, and his son, Jose Gempel, continued his father's Dharma center. And they were practicing pretty well. They were lay people. There were no monks or nuns yet. And Jose Jampal also has a son. And his son was named Kunga Ningpo. Say Kunga Ningpo. And he's very important in our lineage. He's considered the first of the great Sakya patriarchs. Now, our Buddha, his name is Shakya Muni because he belonged to the Shakya clan, but this is the Sakyas. This is the family of the Sakyas. And it is one of the 4 schools of Buddhism in Tibet. You have the Sakyas, the Nyingmas, the Kagyus, and all of a sudden my mind went blank. Our lineage, it's gone. Nyingma, Kagyu, Sakya, and I'm sorry. Galupa. There it is. Galupa. So this is one of the 4 families, basically, of Tibetan Buddhism. So the 5 Sakya patriarchs. We have Sakya Gomanamna. That means the 5 great Sakya patriarchs. And freedom from the 4 attachments comes from these 5. And as I said, the first one is Kunga Ningpo, Sachen Kunga Ningpo, who lived around, 1092 to 1158. His name, which is really beautiful, means the great Sakya who has the essence of happiness, or is the essence of happiness. And then next, who I don't have a picture of here, is Bari Lotsawa. And it means Lotsawa. You know what Lotsawa means? Roxanne's not here. She would know. Right? It means translate. Oh, Laura.
Yeah, translator. Master
Translator. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So he was translating all these Sanskrit Buddhist books into Tibetan. And it took them 700 years to finish, right? And it's going to be the same way here. It's going to be several lifetimes that ALL will be translating texts from Buddhism, or, they're not even translating them, but just inputting them. It will be several different generations, and then they need to get translated. And then translated into Russian, into Spanish, into Vietnamese, all of these different languages. So we need lots of Lotsawas who take responsibility to translate the texts, right? And the Lotsawas were a very important part of this Dharma center, and in fact, of all Dharma centers and monasteries. So when Kunga Ningpo was about 12 years old, he was hanging out with Bari Lotsawa. And Bari Lotsawa says, look, your father's a big man. He owns a Dharma center, right? He's the son of the founder of this Dharma center. And you have to make him proud. You have to show what a great Buddhist you're going to be. No pressure, right? You have to develop wisdom. You have to know the scriptures. You have to understand the scriptures. You have to understand emptiness. And he said, I'm going to teach you a secret teaching so you can make contact with the enlightened beings who can help you. Pretty cool, huh? Have your teacher do that. So he's doing this secretly, like in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right? It's all secret. And he goes into the closet and he enters another realm. Do you guys know the book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? Some yes, some no. They go into the wardrobe and go through the clothes and come out the other side into a whole nother world and realm. And in this case, it's called Anapasanadi. It's a practice, it's a very deep practice, and it's a profound practice to reach Manjushri. So after initially encountering some serious obstacles, Sachin Kunga Ningpo makes contact with the wrong beings who are very powerful and negative influences. And instead of freaking out and going the wrong way, Bahari Notsawa teaches him more powerful practices to overcome them. So in the middle of this, 12-year-old Kunga Ningpo has this extraordinary encounter with Manjushri. And on either side of Manjushri are two bodhisattvas. And they visit him, and Manjushri grants him the teaching called Shempa Shidrel on the spot. He's 12 years old. And later he became a great Lama and was called Sachin, the great Sakya. What does Sakya mean? It means white earth. I talked about the white chalk. So Sakya is referring to that. So they call it the Sakya Dharma Center, and later Sachin becomes head of what became known as Sakya Gunchen. And it is this center that his great-grandfather started, and it's still standing today. And it has one of the great libraries in Tibet. It wasn't burned. It was hidden, and it was still there. And Sachin, passed it on to his son, Jetsun Dragpa Gyaltsen. So, which you can see in this picture here, number 3. But Sachin Kunga Ningpo, who had 2 sons, he had Sunamse and Jetsun Dragpa Gyaltsen. Sunamse is the elder son of Kunga Ningpo. And Jetsun Dragpa Gyaltsen is the younger son. I was just looking at the dates. And he's quite famous. And he becomes one of the greatest figures in the Sakya lineage and in the Vajrayoginian lineage. And he wrote a great commentary on the freedom from the 4 attachments, which is in your reading. And he passes it on to Sakya Pandita, Kunga Gyaltsen, who lived 1182 to 1251. And he is Dragpa Gyaltsen's nephew. And he is the lineage holder. And he is one of the greatest lamas who ever lived in Tibet. He was a great logician. And course 13, ACI 13, was influenced by him. He was a great Sanskrit scholar and translator who memorized like the 8,000 verses of the Prajnaparamita in Sanskrit. He wrote many, many books. And towards the end of his life, he was the greatest Lama in Tibet. And in those days, the Sakyas were the most powerful tradition in Tibet. And in the history of Tibet, up to this time, Mongolia had not yet attacked Tibet. Mongolia at that time was under Genghis Khan, who took Vietnam. He took Burma and Cambodia. He took the Middle East. He took Moscow. He took Korea. He took China, and he reached as far as Western Europe. I mean, he was formidable. In one day, he killed 400,000 Austrian troops outside of Vienna. They were powerful. And, you know, we're talking horses. We're not talking, they didn't have airplanes and tanks and things. So it took 3 years to send a message from the capital to the front lines by foot. That's how big the empire was, right? It reached as far as Hungary. And it's interesting that the Hungarian language has a lot of Mongolian in it. They also captured Moscow and kept it for a long time. They were very, very powerful, but they never attacked Tibet. The Tibetans met them at the frontier and said, "We will pay you every year a certain amount of money if you just leave us alone." And they said, "Okay, deal," right? So that was the deal. And they kept that deal up until when Genghis Khan died. And as soon as they heard that the Khan was dead, they stopped paying tribute. And then this other prince comes to collect. His name was Godin Khan. And he reached the eastern borders of Tibet. And he started to get a little interested in Buddhism. And there's this very famous letter that is still around. And he wrote to Sakya Pandita, who was living near Lhasa at the time, which is about 3 months' walk from eastern Tibet. And he said, "I know you're the greatest Lama in Tibet." He was already very old, like almost 60, which in those days was like 20 years older than a regular lifespan. And he says, I know you're the greatest Lama in Tibet. I'm interested in Buddhism, and I really want you to teach me Buddhism. And I know, since you're the greatest Lama in Tibet, and all the Lamas care for all living beings, and I'm a living being, you must come and teach me Buddhism out of the compassion of your heart. You are required to do so. And if you don't, I'll burn all the monasteries in East Tibet. So this letter still exists. So what do you think Sakya Pandita said? He's old. But he goes, yeah, let's keep peace and let's teach him Buddhism. So he takes his 2 young nephews with him. Am I going too fast? Okay, thank you, Eka. And they started to walk to East Tibet. And he's an old man. He's the most revered teacher in Tibet. So people keep stopping him along the way as he's going. And they keep asking him questions and give us a weekend teaching. And he keeps getting hung up, right? Meanwhile, there's this warlord on his eastern side there who's going to burn everything down if he doesn't come and teach him Buddhism. So he gets a little nervous. And that Godin Khan would begin destroying monasteries and things like that, which you can understand. So out of goodwill, as an act of good faith, he sent his nephews ahead of him. And they're like teenagers, but he sent them ahead to meet Prince Godin. And the story is that by the time the Sakya Pandita finally reached Eastern Tibet, they had already converted, his nephews had already converted Godin Khan to Buddhism. They had presented karma and emptiness so well that the prince had already become a Buddhist, and they stopped the warfare they had been doing. And one of his nephews was called Drogin Chogyal Pakpa. So he's seen here with the Sakya Pandita on his left side. And there's Drogin Chogyal Pakpa sitting at his Lama's feet. So this is our lineage, our family tree. He was 9 years old when they set out to meet Prince Godin. And he's wandering around the Tibetan border, and he winds up in Beijing as the private Lama of Kublai Khan, who is the grandson of Genghis Khan, who met Marco Polo. And in Marco Polo's records, there are writings about Pakpa. And he invented a Mongolian alphabet so the Mongolians could translate Buddhism into their spoken language. So the Mongolian Empire spread all the way to Europe's borders with Genghis Khan. The Mongolians start spreading Buddhism all over, even in Europe. And then, as the empire began to shrink, some of the Mongolians got stuck there in Europe, which means stuck there in Mongolian is Kalmuk. They got stuck near the Dnieper River in Russia. In particular, there's a night right around the American Revolution, like 1770s, when all the Mongolians who were in Russia were directed to go home. So they write to the Dalai Lama of Tibet of the time, and they ask what would be the most auspicious, the best night for us to go home to Mongolia from Eastern Europe. So he gives them a date, and they're camping on both sides of the Dnieper River. And everybody on the western side gets left behind because there's a warm spell and the river unfreezes and they can't cross over. So those on the eastern side, they get into their wagons and they start out on their journey to go home. And most of them, unfortunately, die on the way home. But everybody on the western bank of the river gets stuck there. And some people say that's where the word Kalmuk comes from. And there's this huge group of Mongolians left there, and they're called Kalmuks. You're probably wondering why I'm telling you this story. Maybe you know. But after World War II, they escaped to this country called America. And they go to this state called New Mexico, and they can't stand it. It's this desert state. They hate it. And so then they go to this other state called New Jersey. And they start these temples. And their monks there are very, very old, and they start to die out. There's one monk whose name is Geshe Michael. He teaches these crazy Americans like Jeffrey Hopkins and Robert Thurman and some other people from Harvard, and they become great holders of the lineage. You may have heard of them and may have read their books. And then there's this other temple in New Jersey in a place called Howell. And the Lama there gets old and he's blind and he writes to the High Lama. And the High Lama sends this guy, this high Geshe named Geshe Lobsang Tarchin there for 3 years. And then all these American students come and he starts to teach them. And he never goes back to India. Geshe Lobsang Tarchin is Geshe Michael's teacher. He is your grandfather. So this is your lineage. This is why I tell you this story. You are one more family member, and your job is to pass it on now. So hopefully it won't end with you. And someday somebody will tell this story in places like Argentina or maybe even Mongolia, right? And if you have Vajrayogini or when you get Vajrayogini initiation, this is your direct lineage. And so this is an extremely important teaching from your lineage. Just checking how much more time I have. We're going to use the full 2 hours, I think, or close to it today. So, Janet, would you read this for us, please? We're going to do the freedom from the 4 attachments now.
Zen di la shena chupa min. Kamasu la shen na zheng zheng min.
Nianjung.
Nian min. Dakdun la shen na zheng sem min. Sinpa jung na tawa min.
Nice.
A person who is still attached to this life is no Dharma practitioner. A person who is still attached to the 3 worlds has no renunciation. A person who is still attached to getting what they want is no bodhisattva. A person who still grasps to things has no worldview.
Thank you. So the first one, sending La Shen Na Chupa Min. So this is a person who is still attached to this life as no Dharma practitioner. These are Manjushri's first words to Papa. And these words are spoken to Papa, who's already a great Buddhist, right? So first we have to figure out what attachment to this life means. So remember, Manjushri is talking to Dharma practitioners, not to someone who is not a Dharma student. He's not trying to convince someone to become a Buddhist. And, you're trying to figure out, we, from our Judeo-Christian guilt complex, what does being attached to this life mean? So Are we supposed to sit there and not be attached to anything? It seems like people can even go to extremes in some traditions, that you can't even want to be attached to reaching enlightenment or nirvana, and that you're not a good Buddhist if you want to save all sentient beings. If you say, I desire, I want to save all sentient beings, you're already a bad person because you're attached to it. Some people think like that, right? So it's very profound. It doesn't mean don't like or enjoy anything or feel guilty about it. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have the desire to reach certain goals, like nirvana, or to help all sentient beings. The meaning is very profound, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't care about things. If you've ever been around Geshe Michael, you know he enjoys things, and he's also being silly and joking all day long. Is he attached? You can have a family and enjoy things in this life. So what are the goals of your Buddhist practice? Is it that you could reach a place where in your mind you don't care about anything? Or is it to reach a place of total bliss, standing on countless planets, serving every being perfectly at the same time? A Buddha paradise is completely full of bliss. The joys of this life are a tiny indication of what could happen when you reach enlightenment. The whole point of life is to reach total ecstasy and bliss, not to deal with crap. Are enlightened beings just sitting around their paradise being bored and not having a good time? It's supposed to be blissful, to reach ecstasy all the time. You want it to go on forever. And that is the ultimate evolution. So there are healthy things to be attached to, like serving others and getting to enlightenment, so you can help all beings get out of suffering. So the Sakya Pandita says, a scholar in their time as a student suffers. A scholar that abides in bliss is impossible. Through their attachment to small bliss, attaining the bliss which is great is impossible. So what this is saying is Dharma students who want to become masters of Buddhism during their student years will suffer. People who are attached to small pleasures can never attain great ecstasy. And the Sakya Pandita wrote a commentary on these verses. First thing he says is what you choose to do daily with your life is an indication of whether or not you are attached to this life. Making the right choice about what to dedicate your life to is freedom from attachment. What is the healthiest thing for everyone to dedicate your life to? And on what basis do you decide what you want to do with your life? So if your decision about what to do, how to spend your life, what to spend your life doing, is based on any of the following four bases, you have what is called attachment to this life. The four things that were in those verses. So we have bakchaks, we have seeds or instincts. Why don't you go and punch somebody when they're bothering you? Or kill them? What stops you? In the school that I went to, when I was a teenager, I grew up in a city called Chicago, and there were gangs. And they fought with you if you said something the wrong way. I used to be scared to go into the bathroom because just for being who I was, they could beat me up. Or if I looked at them the wrong way, or if someone were the wrong color or class. But why don't we do that generally? My parents didn't teach me to do that, and I didn't want to. Those are called bakchaks. They are not self-existent, and don't think it's in you through some miracle of God or something. It had a cause. And there's a reason why some kids are nice and some kids aren't. It's a bakchak. It's a seed from their past lives. It's not an accident. It's not just a DNA accident. Don't think their mother dropped them or something and she ate spicy tofu or something like that, right? These tendencies are coming from a lot longer ago than that. Those are bakchaks. We keep our morality and keep to civilized behavior because we have a natural inner conscience that stops us from killing people that irritate us. Our good instincts come from seeds planted in our past. And Ven Gyelse says, don't trust them. Don't trust your future happiness to the instincts you came into this life with. That is attachment. Your good nature is impermanent, and it will slide when the pressure is on. We're not talking about mango smoothies or movies and clothes and food and music. It's not the attachments we're talking about. If you're attached to the instincts for what is good and bad that you have, that is attachment. Some of them may be very mistaken. You can't trust them. Also, they're impermanent and they'll go away. You think your instincts are inborn, your God-given nature. And if you want to perpetuate the good, to understand seeds, to karma and emptiness, you have to take care of it. I've met several older people in my life, or several people who I knew them as they got older. And their natures were really sweet and kind, but something shifted as they got older. Especially, like I have a friend in her 90s, and now she's just paranoid and blames everybody for this and that. And she was never like that before. Those seeds wore out. So we have to take care of them. Make sure we hang out with people who help us to take care of them. Because we can lose, if we hang out with the wrong people, we can lose the standards that we had and do something that we would never have done before. So this is what the Bodhisattva vow about not hanging out with people who don't believe in the Dharma is about. Doesn't mean don't hang out with your friends who are not Dharma practitioners. It means be careful about the people who influence your life. Don't trust your future life and future happiness to your instincts. Number 2, tsorwa. Feelings. You keep your ethics when it feels good. But when you need something badly or want to feel good, you will act immorally to get it. If your morality bends according to what you need or what makes you feel good or bad, you have to obey the laws of karma. Right? If you don't, you're no Dharma practitioner. You're attached to this life and you're not a Dharma practitioner. So we're not talking about because you were a good or bad person from the time you were a kid. You have to obey the laws of karma, not because they feel good or bad. You have to respect them because they run your world. So that's the second kind of attachment that he's talking about. And the third one, custom or tradition, luksul. You can't trust your civilization's value system. Like in the US, there's gambling or the lottery, or drinking alcohol is okay, abortion, adultery, hunting. They're either legal or illegal, or sometimes they're legal and sometimes they're illegal. They change. Right? We can't trust our civilization's value system. Like my grandfather, he was involved with a small group of mafia in New York City. And during the time of a time called Prohibition, when alcohol was illegal to drink, he ran a place called the Tea House, where people could come and get a drink, right? Secretly. Well, not so secretly. The police even used to come there. So they knew about it. But who knows what he did to keep it that way. But now it's legal, right? And the whole movie industry is based on sex and exciting sex and violence and adultery stories and stuff like that. But if a politician has extramarital sex or something, then you're bad and you're in big trouble and you're put in jail. What about violence? Violence is okay. In my country, when they were in 1770, there were debates going on between our founding fathers whether or not Black people were humans or animals. That's the culture I live in. And the same sorts of things are going on right now. So half of what you believe is some silly thing that your culture taught you that you just haven't thought about. And we're living our life by that. And that's attachment to this life. This kind of attachment is very difficult to overcome. You're going to have to go against your whole civilization. So that's the third kind of attachment to this life. You're like a fish swimming upstream, and people will think you're crazy. And then the fourth one, Hama. Universal words, right? That's what it is in Tibetan. Mother and father, Pama. To truly live a moral life based on Buddhist ethics, you will often have to go against what your civilization and what your parents have taught you and what they believe. For example, it's crazy to work your whole life without sufficient time to devote to your spiritual goals. Our civilization creates people whose only meaningful goal is to die with a whole bunch of stuff they can't use. So freedom from attachment to this life means to think independently. You must examine the standard of your behavior against your understanding of karma and emptiness, not against your instincts, feelings, culture, or parents' values. An ideal lifestyle might be to do your daily practice till 11 o'clock in the morning, and then work until 6 o'clock, and take 2 months off a year for retreat. Okay? You must work these things out for yourself. Your ethics and the things you choose to do with your life must be driven by wisdom and an understanding of emptiness, not some Judeo-Christian belief system or other influences like your culture, friends, parents, etc. Why? These influences will always change and are not reliable. Forget doing good things because you always did them, because you were a good child at school. Forget doing things because your school teachers told you that was good or bad. Forget doing things because of what your parents taught you. Forget doing things because of what your church or temple taught you, or what you didn't hear there. Forget doing things because of what your culture says, which changes every year or two. Forget doing things because of what your peers think. That will change as you get older too. Every year that goes by, it changes. And you need to learn not to have attachment to those things. We have to be good because we understand seeds and we understand the pen. Right? You're the only one keeping track. You and Auntie Karma. It will allow you to avoid getting old and dying. You must escape this realm and the negativity in your mind sometime during this life. Your morality must be driven by this goal and only this goal. Don't do anything that doesn't protect you from dying. Go after the things that will get you out of this realm and out of death. According According to Buddhism, this world is a mistake. And to live in this world is an error. It was a mistake that we got here. We came to this realm because of some negativity in our mind, and that will kill us. You can go to heaven or paradise, but you don't have much time to do it. You have to learn a system and keep it independent of your society's influence. So the second part of this first line is, a person who is still attached to this life is no Dharma practitioner. So we talked about the first part. The second part, c'est tu, sam, gom. Tu, sam, gom. Tu is to learn, sam is to contemplate, and gom to meditate. So the second half is about how to be free from attachment to this life, is found in the independent practices of tu, sam, gom, learning, contemplating, and meditating. You have to think for yourself and find a practice, a path that will save you from death and suffering. You know, each of us here is going to die. And we don't have much time to do something. We're all surrounded by other people who are dying. And your spiritual practice has to be a personal journey based on your decision of what's right or wrong. You must test any teaching you hear and decide if it will work. You have to try it out and see if it will change your life. Be critical. Don't accept anything you hear. Don't accept anything I'm teaching you unless it tests out logically and through your experience. You must take the time to effectively contemplate and meditate on these things. And keeping track of too many possessions will clog your mind's attention that you need to practice. Your mind will be occupied with your stuff and what's happening to it. The point is that the priorities of our culture are wrong. Okay? 96% of the time we're working. So someone else can have 4% of the things, right, that you really want to do. Is that a good deal? You have to think like that. Maybe the priorities are wrong. It may be easy to give up a few harmful things in your life, but can you give up your attachment to your whole civilization's way of thinking? It's very difficult. But according to Buddhism, if you don't break this attachment, you will die. So do the Dharma that's most powerful. You must prioritize good deeds and the strongest ones. And if you're already practicing Dharma, maybe your priorities are wrong too. You know, 90% of us who try to practice the Dharma are lazy because we are attracted to this life. And it doesn't mean smoothies. It's the way of thinking about this life. It's easy to give up smoothies. It's easy to put on robes. It's easy to go and stay in a room and not have a family. But try to not be attached to the thinking you grew up with. That's what it really means. So if you want to actually change your body and your mind into an enlightened beings in this lifetime, you have to give up the lower, more comfortable practices. Attachment to this life can mean failing to put your efforts into your highest practices. So once you get into a spiritual path, don't stay at the lower levels. Keep pushing the envelope, as we say, and avoid the practices that take more faith or courage. Don't do that. At each point in your practice, you have to face decisions and move up, right, to higher practices, up to the diamond way, because that will speed your path to enlightenment. You do so in the same way that you had to give up worldly morality when you first entered the Buddhist path. And don't move up before you're ready. Get all the preparation, build the foundation that you need. Otherwise, you will fail. But when you're ready, go for it. Oh, there's my page. So in your homework, there are some metaphors, antidotes, and results that the Sakya Pandita lays out. So again, number one was anyone attached to this life is no Dharma practitioner. Anyone attached to the three realms has no renunciation. Anyone attached to their own needs alone is no bodhisattva. And if you grasp to these things as self-existent, you have no worldview. So, first one. He says the metaphor is this life is like a bubble. It can end in a second. Make sure your priorities are right. Keep pushing in your practice, even if you have to risk everything. Never be satisfied until you reach the highest practices and goal. Meditate on death. And your practice of Dharma becomes Dharma. So the metaphor is life is like a bubble. The antidote is meditate on death. And the result is your practice of Dharma becomes Dharma. Okay. Anyone attached to the three realms has no renunciation. The metaphor is eating poison. Think of the problems of this vicious circle is the antidote. And the result is your Dharma practice becomes a path. Number 3, anyone attached to their own needs alone is no bodhisattva. The metaphor is killing the son of a powerful king. What is the son? It's bodhicitta, the wish for enlightenment. Right? That is the antidote. And the result is it removes the first great mistake of the path, which is not living for others. So If you kill the son of a powerful enemy, what happens? He'll get even. So your satisfaction is stupid. Looking out for your own needs will literally kill you. The thought of caring for others is essential to becoming enlightened. Bodhicitta will remove the fatal error of focusing on your own needs. And the fourth attachment, if you grasp to things as self-existent, you have no worldview. The metaphor is a mirage. Grasping to a mirage is drinking water. The antidote is not to hold to the two extremes. The extreme of everything is the way it appears and that's how it is, or that's not how it is and nothing matters. Those are the two extremes. And what is the result? Buddhahood. Cool? Well, we made it through. It's a very full class today. Thank you for hanging in there. Your meditation, 15 minutes per day, analytical meditation, thinking of the times today or yesterday that you have kept your vows by avoiding some negative deed or thought. Then think about why you did so. Was it a well thought out understanding of seeds and emptiness? A real understanding of how you yourself can turn into an enlightened being? And how the world around you can change into a paradise by just you keeping your own vows? Or was it just a changeable instinct or cultural habit? Right? Some nice deep things to think about in your meditation. And so let us offer this pure world that we're working hard to create here to those who have passed down these teachings to us and to every being in every universe, that they may be out of suffering. So, Vera, can you lead us in the prayer? No? Okay. Lubov? Okay. How about Hong Huen? Huen. Uong Huen? Can you lead us in the prayers?
Hi, teacher. Is it you call me?
Yes. Did I say your name wrong? Probably.
Yeah, it's Lương Huyền. Yeah.
Say it for me again.
Lương Huyền.
Lu Huen. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Shashi Puki Chuksim Meto Ram Rira Vinshin Devian Pa Di Shangye Shindu Mitte Owari Kunam Shinga Chupa Shu Vidamuruna Manaraka Liya Nayami.
And then our dedication.
Dewa Deyi Kevu Kun Sonam Yese Sok Sok Shin Sonam Yese Lichum Wai Rampa Puni Tupa Sho.
Great. Thank you,
very much.
everybody. now I can see how your name is said. It was so small, I couldn't see the L at the beginning. These
you,
small little pictures that we have. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for hanging in there for this long class today. It's a lot to digest, a lot to eat. Don't get sick on it. Take little bites at a time and use it in your life. Hi, Tudo and your daughter.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Okay. Bye-bye.
Спасибо.